This is Deathloop. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So, what are we getting here with this title that was, well, basically exclusively launched for PlayStation, even though it's a first-party Xbox game under Bethesda, that has now finally arrived? Well, we've got two visual modes here on Xbox Series S, and that should, I don't know, excite you to a degree, but anyways, two modes. Two ways to kind of go at it. Options, you go to visuals, and we get performance mode, and we get visual quality mode. So both are 1080p, both do not feature ray tracing, and both are 60 FPS. I would say if you have VRR, because this does have variable refresh rate support, I would go with visual quality. 1080p, 60 FPS, I don't really anticipate you getting drops, especially via VRR. I think even if you don't have that, kind of going with the 60 FPS mode is the way to go. Because again, both 1080p 60, you might as well get something that's pushing the resolution quality a bit more. Field of view option, and we've got some different color neutral option choices as well for gameplay, if that's something that you feel is helpful. Reprise option, you can change as well if you need to make things a little bit easier going. So, what is... Oh, there's a photo mode too there, if you didn't notice that. What is Deathloop? Well, Deathloop is a single player and or semi-multiplayer experience. So the game centers around Colt, who's stuck in this death loop, who needs to, well, break the loop in order to escape. And the loop is a dangerous kind of never-ending cycle, and basically you are working through the environment and through different missions and leads in order to come to the conclusion as to what's going on. And you are being constantly, these are weapon leads as well, you are constantly being taunted by this individual known as Juliana. So from the top here on the left, when you're starting things in certain areas, you're able to adjust. You want to have anyone online come and jump in and attack you, friends only, or just single player. Choice is entirely up to you. Let's switch the option before continuing over to the performance mode, just so that we can show that in action, just so you can see it. And again, it's, you know, essentially they're giving you the same mode, but one looks a little bit better. And I think both do actually look pretty clean, all things considered. It's a little less sharp around the edges when you are, you know, kind of in this 1080p performance-focused mode. So I think quality, honestly, is probably just a fine way to go at it. At least I personally think so. So, yeah, you've got Juliana, and she is this mysterious voice who is taunting you, who is making fun of you, and you are trying to figure out what's going on. And Juliana is the one that where other people online can jump in and invade you and attack you, and you have to like kind of cancel them out of the area you're in. And that's the only way to get that done. And it's a kind of an intriguing concept if you want that multiplayer integration. And like I said, if you don't want it, you can turn it off. And honestly, it was neat. And then you're doing your mission thing, and then you're having to deal with this person constantly. It can get a little annoying, so I kind of turned it off again because I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. But, you know, it's a neat extra layering of challenge to the gameplay if you are into that sort of thing. Oh, hello there, guys. So, yeah, we're kind of fooling around. I'm not really necessarily doing anything too serious here. Just kind of showing it off gameplay-wise and also talking about it so you get an idea of what it is. What was that? that was a little unexpected, actually. Most stuff I've been doing on this has been really expected. That was most certainly unexpected. So Deathloop is a fine game. It's worth, you know, a play. I think it's kind of intriguing. I think you can enjoy it and find it to be distinct. And, you know, I think the heart of it is the two main characters, and they're fun to see go at it. And there's a bunch of secondary characters that you kind of have to, you know, kill, deal with, stuff like that. So you're breaking the loop, but the game is a lot more linear than you might think it is, if that makes sense. Like, you literally are basically doing all these different things that give you this feeling of you making choices, but then by the end of it, you're essentially just going down a linear path. And to me, that's disappointing because you do all this setup work, and then it just kind of caps off. Oh, there's also HDR and spatial sound support as well, if that wasn't clear. And, again, no ray tracing on the Series S side of things, which... yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, you are basically working through this world and trying to get to the bottom of everything. And, you know, it's kind of like the typical, oh, you know, I don't know what's happening, a little bit of amnesia, stuff like that, right? So you are trying to make a difference. Oh, no. And, well, a difference for yourself. You don't really care about, I would say, others and whatnot. Kill the taps. Oh, yeah, and then that drags the person in here or something like that. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah. Anyways, that's gonna get everybody all angry and whatnot, because, you know, you gotta have those drinks, right? So, wow, you all got here really, really fast. That was a little surprising. Anyways, yeah, you are breaking things down, you are killing people, you are causing problems, you are gathering these special residual things. And you're doing this across different, like, times of the day. So different events take place at different times of the day. So you could be in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, you know, stuff like that, or at night like we are now. And there'll be different people doing different things. And as you can kind of guess, everything comes together to make sense towards the end of everything. And then you'd be like, oh, okay, you know, this makes sense, why you gotta do this here, this, there, and all that kind of stuff. But it very much is the same game. You know, if you played this a year ago, you shouldn't really expect anything too wildly different, because it is the same game, right? I mean, that's kind of just what I absolutely assumed. They did apparently add some new ending type stuff to this one, so you might find that to be interesting, but, you know, overall at its core, it's the same sort of experience. So, kind of going back for a second run of the game, just about a year after playing it for the first time, I'm kind of a little fatigued, I'd say, but, you know, it's still a cool game. It's still got some neat moments to it. It's got crazy over-the-top action. It's got some wild, wacky moments. It's got funny character lines and delivery from two really good leads. So yeah, I'd say the characters and whatnot are a great highlight of this experience. Same with like some of the secondary characters too. You know, different characters that you have to come across and deal with and fight, and yeah, that's all cool. And then there's like little layerings to the game. You're doing this across this island, and with the different times of day that I mentioned, you will end up doing different kind of scenic type events. So you can end up, you know, sort of being like in this like research station place that's all, you know, kind of more ice focused, or you might be here in the main area where there's like a castle spot, and then there's like a hidden kind of, I want to call it like a bit of a, I don't know if amusement park's the right word, but it's like a little attraction type place with some space type things going on. It's quite quirky. It's very distinct. So yeah, you know, and the party don't ever stop, and it's just a wild time with you kind of eliminating various enemies and stuff. Or you could play it stealthy. You know, you could do stealth stuff, or you could go in and shoot, run and gun. It's entirely up to you and how you want to go at it, right? And there's lots of hidden secrets and things that you could find, and better weapons. And then there's this whole layering system of being like, okay, well, I can't really show the loadout here. You know, what weapons do I want to keep? So you'll have, wow, that actually looks really magnificent from this distance. You'll have different things such as, I want to make sure we're back on the quality mode. Yeah, okay, good. So yeah, you'll have different things such as these guns, and you'll have these perks so you can, like, you know, teleport and whatnot and everything like that. And you gain these by, you know, killing people, which is expected. I mean, it is a shooter. So yeah, and then you'll get these points, and then there's like weapon trinkets, which are little upgraded things for your weapons and so forth that you will gather. And then you can choose to, like, kind of, you know, do you want to sacrifice these? And then you use your sacrifice points in order to allow yourself to have a weapon forever. So you'd be like, you know, you protect it from the loops. You get a cool shotgun and be like, okay, well, I want to use this in future loops because, you know, I want to keep using this particular weapon. And that option is to you, or available to you once you have enough of these points. Otherwise, you kind of lose these points and you don't get to, you know, keep your weapon and stuff. So you almost have to make, like, a bit of a sacrificing point at times, deciding, hey, what weapons do I want to keep? What tools do I want to keep? Because it applies the same for the slabs, which are the special abilities like teleportation, or the trinkets you collect as well. It kind of applies across the board. and you've got to be smart about things. You got to, you know, get the job done as best as you can in order to survive and, you know, take out enemies and all that stuff. And there's different difficulty type options as well if you need a harder or more easier going time. It's really up to you. The game is kind of a lot about choice, but also at the end of it, not really about choice all that much either. So yeah, you get a good mix. And then there's just lots of different cool spaces you fight in. Like I said, you can take things at a, like a, I guess you would say a stealthy approach, or you can go in guns blazing. Your success will vary, of course, depending on the scenario and what you do. And then there's like hacking type stuff, and you know, there actually is quite a lot to this game, I would say, gameplay-wise. I actually find it to be quite an intriguing, gory, visceral time with that, like, specific type of content or combat that I think you can really like if you're into Bethesda-type titles. And it does have that good sense of mystery, because I was sitting there, you know, when I first played this, I was like, okay, what's going on? I think I kind of guessed it as you were going through it, sort of what the connection was and everything. That made sense, but I still think it's a fun surprise. And like I said, it may not be, like, to me, the craziest game of all time and whatnot. I think it was, like, a little over-critically acclaimed, but, you know, I still agree that it is a good play. It's still an enjoyable experience. You can have a lot of fun sitting here blasting things, trying to figure out, hey, what's going on? What am I doing? Uh-oh. Supposed to use the thingamajig to hack that. And it looks good, and it plays well in the Series S, which is nice, and, you know, kind of expected, considering this is, you know, a first-party title now, which is interesting to think about, because it sure took them quite a while to deliver that. But obviously, you know, there was the big exclusivity. But now you can just easily enjoy what this has to offer, and I think gameplay-wise, it's pretty good. And I think it's kind of fun seeing the puzzles, even though you're not really puzzle-solving, sort of all come together is a pretty satisfying sort of thing. I think it's certainly got the surprises and the weird moments that will continue to charm and delight you as you blast and smash your way through hordes of enemies and bosses and stuff. But that's the thing, is like you can go in here and you can run around a little bit like I am, which is kind of nonsensical. You really should not play the game this way because it takes away from it. But you can do that if you'd like, or you can go and you can, you know, you go shoot things, or you can go and try to figure out the complexities of, like, you know, what your actual goal is while you're going through here. But it's just like, it's quite a lovely game, and there is that layering of like, hey, you come here at this part of the day, and then you can do this, and then you come back at a later time of the day and you can do something else that is entirely intriguing on its own, being like, oh, okay, so this area is now available to me, or because I did this action I can go back to this place later, and then that's available to me. Now I think that is utterly fascinating. You don't get to go down into the town, do you? I don't know. There's just a lot that you can appreciate in this one. Oh, actually, this is the exit, isn't it? Or one of the exits. We're not really trying to go to the exit, we're just kind of killing people. And then there's the layering of, oh, I messed up and I gotta restart my loop, right? You know, you gotta restart the day or something like that. It's actually easier just to quit out of the game, to be honest, and then you just start from the beginning of this area instead of having to loop all around again if you've set up all these complexities. Thought that was something that was worth mentioning. But yeah, it's also funny doing this. And then, like, you know, coming back and being like, oh, you know, I'm doing some things too fast. Because, you know, I finished the game, so I'm like, I'm supposed to do this, but I'm not remembering the order for which I'm supposed to do this stuff. And it's just kind of, like, comical that it's like, oh, yeah, I gotta do this, but I gotta do it at, like, a later time. Can I not teleport through that? That's weird. Teleportation is your best friend, by the way. Highly recommend getting it, like, as soon as you can. Because it is really, really just a spectacular sort of thing to get within the game. But yeah, I'd say Deathloop is a good title. I think it's got some fun surprises for you. I think you'll find it likely to be an interesting shooter, something with a little bit of depth, fun characters conflicting and fighting one another, surprises, secrets, intensive combat, just the twists, the turns, the craziness as you try your best to survive, because, you know, nobody really likes you in this area, and they're kind of all definitely out to kill you in their own little ways. But it's tight level design that changes just the right amount to keep things fresh throughout your concurrent different plays of the different areas in the time loops or the death loops. I wish there was just a little bit more to the whole concept of, like, you know, you're basically doing an Oceans type thing, but at the end of it, you're not given the opportunity to plan the perfect heist, and it's just like, why? Why would you set that up and then not allow me to fully realize what I want to realize? And I think that in itself is a little bit, but, you know, it's solid, it's good, it's enjoyable. It's Deathloop. It's a neat game. I think you can have fun with it and find it to be an intriguing little play.